Can you hear me now?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay. Perfect. Good to see you. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Basil.
Yeah, good evening, Peace. How you doing?
I'm very fine.
Happy compliments of the season.
I wish you same.
Your forehead is shining. What's happening? What did you rub there?
It's the anointing of the Lord.
Anointing. Maybe
Yes.
tonight you're going to share it. So, but good to have you. How's work generally?
Everything is okay. Good. How about yours? How you doing? Have you been?
Yeah, we're here. We are here, and we know we are trying to move to the permanent side, like we say in Nigeria. I don't know of your own country, but I think
Nice to hear that.
we're good here. We're good here. So, basically what our conversation to round about tonight, it's about the brand power, how to become better, how to make
Yes.
our brand better, how to increase visibility. But in doing all this, most times we tend to forget the place of our health, which is why we had to bring you in.
Mm.
So once again, you're welcome. I'd like to
Thank-
make a bit of an introduction to our guest tonight. So Miss Peace is, yeah, there are a lot to speak about her, but just for us to be able to
very-
maximize our time and hear her give us a lowdown of what she has come with, I would just like us to know that she's a practicing nurse, and as you can see, young at that, and a millennial nurse, so not the old kind of nurse. For
21st
those who will
century.
be looking, yeah. And a very, let me say, one nurse that I've seen that takes pride in her career. A lot of nurses see themselves as subordinates. They feel that they are less. But I think I've seen that difference in you. You pride yourself in your career. You see it separate from the medical, let me say, from the medical cloud. Yes, from the medical doctor's cloud, because it's still under
Mm.
medicine. So you're welcome.
Thank you very
So
much.
that a lot of things happen during the law. Aside the
Mm-hmm.
mental issues, people had other issues that follow, marital issues, emotional issues. But tonight, we're going to discuss what followed after the lockdown, the remote issues about us. I would like to take a bit of feeding. Like many things happen. So people now feel just day out. They know they go outside, they get work, and it's like people now create companies and they'll tell you, and they go work, sit back at home, and they keep pressing their laptop and they keep making sales, and
Exactly.
they tell you,
I
I day
agree.
work, I day house since. Yes. So I want you to give us first of all an overview of what things that are health issues that have come about after this lockdown. When people call a day house, they work. Those health problems no come they come. They no come they go office. They no come they do exercise. They just a day out.
Yeah.
Sit down. Take it up from there.
Well, basically, this working from home was designed to be something positive in a situation whereby there's a pandemic and everyone has to sit at home to protect themselves from being infected or be contacted from the virus. So the government had to put a ban and ensure that everyone stay at home. And basically, there's no way a business could just shut down like that. So they had to come up with this strategy of working from home. Although it has been helping so far, but still there are some health effects that can affect people um, when doing this in the wrong way without considering the health effects as well. Everything that has an advantage will definitely have a disadvantage. So we need to
Yeah.
put that into considerations as well. So that's what I think about the whole pandemic and working from home.
Yeah. That's a nice one. That's an interesting one. And so you being a health personnel, did you work from? Someone bring a patient and say, "Yeah, madam. Ah, I know well, oh, I come your house, I treat me. Was there an issue like that? Like after the lockdown
After
and
the
work
lockdown,
started, did people come to your
during
house?
the
Did you work
lockdown,
from home? Yes. Did you work from home
uh,
at some point?
there's no way we as a medical practitioners can work from home because our patients can't we can't take care of them online. We can't treat them through emails and Zoom meetings. That's not possible.
No.
So we have to have a physical contact and able to administer our medications, do our procedures, and ensure that they are well observed. That's just it.
Wow. Okay. Okay, so there was never an issue where you had to work from home. I understand that. I don't
No,
envy you. I
but
don't envy your position.
about some hospitals whereby they had to lay off some staffs. Um, they had to lay off some staffs because the pandemic thing was really getting up into them, and they had to limit their number of staffs to somehow reduce the risk of the pandemic. I don't know, but some people were really not fair with that treatment because it rendered them jobless at that time, and it really made things difficult for some healthcare workers. So it wasn't a good experience at the time.
Yeah, I kind of I agree with that. A lot of people whom I know in the health sector, they lost their places. They lost their places here. So now let's go to, I'm sitting on a chair now, and on this chair I design websites. Like on this chair I design flyers. On this chair I attend Zoom meetings. I mean, I don't go out. I don't have an office, a physical office outside. I do this in the house. What are those problems, those challenges that I will face as a person physically if I keep sitting on this chair in 1 year and I'm making all the money?
Okay. Well, it has numerous health effects. Sitting in one position, working from home, working on your laptop, the screen, almost 24 hours of the day. It's a no for me, and I will not advise anyone to do that because the dangers are high. Firstly, it presupposes our eyes to this light rays from the computer, and it has an effect on the eye, which makes the eyes not to be relaxed. So it causes some kind of constriction on the eyesight, and it can add pressure. So there's this pressure that can be added to the eyesight when you're constantly being exposed to the system, the light from the system. And so an example of that can be glaucoma, which can
Wow.
increase the pressure on the eyesight. And a lot of people has got with over the years. It's not something that just happened once, but this constant exposure can predispose someone or a person to such a condition. So that's it. And secondly, this sitting in a position for a long time. Sometimes, it's a house, so basically you might not want to sit in the chair, so you might sit in the bed in a very wrong posture, and it can affect the spine. It can cause sciatica. It can also cause spondylosis. So these are all kind of pains from the spines or back as well. So most people develop this with time, and they come to the hospital complaining about back pain and waist pain. And when we take their history, we discover that it's just due to their sitting position when working at home. Yeah, that's it. Well, I think there are also some and a major health effects of this working from home is this sedentary lifestyle. And sedentary lifestyle has a very long branch. Well, firstly, it can cause diabetes. It can as well cause heart problems and obesity. When the body is static and it's not moving, we don't exercise, you don't go to work, you don't gym, you don't work out, you just sit in one place in a system from morning till 9, 24 hours, 7. It can reduce the body metabolism. So that metabolism means the process of the body, like the breakdown of some tissues, and you know to result into the next stage, which can impair the ability for the body to break down glucose. So glucose, in another word, cannot be properly absorbed in the body and can lead to diabetes, as well as the fats cannot be broken down, which can accumulate and can result to obesity and even stroke. So exercising and walking, going to offices has a big advantage on this part. Most people stay at home doing their job, but they don't realize this fact that staying at home can really cause a very great health um, danger to them. So that's just it. We need to understand the fact. So let's imagine you working in an office, and maybe during a lunch break you could take a walk, taking your coffee or having a snack. You can take a walk and chat with your friends. Or at home, nobody is there supervising you. You can just sit down from morning to night. You can eat all the food in the house. Nobody's going to question you.
Yeah, 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 yes. I was about coming to that.
You don't have a
Before
schedule
before
for
we
any.
go,
Yeah, you don't have a schedule
I was
for
about
any.
coming to that.
Sorry.
Yes, yes. I was about coming to that lifestyle, that nutritional
Yeah.
lifestyle.
So when you
Staying
do
at
your
home,
nobody is
it makes you eat
is
a lot.
giving you any
Yes,
specific tasks to do, so you
of
can do
course.
whatever you want anytime you want, and you can spend your whole time. And coupled with that, it also leads to low productivity because you're not being supervised, so we could just work without enthusiasm or without zeal,
Mm.
which you would do on a normal basis when you go to the office to work there. So I think working from home has really a great range of disadvantages. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I Let me tie it together from the onset, from your intro. You said something about it was a necessity. It was a necessary measure put in by government. So companies, this is how to adjust in order for life to be saved. And now on the other side of it, you now have an adverse effect on productivity. So people now sit at home and catch sickness from their lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
They now eat a lot. They now go out of control. They can sleep and still be operating a laptop. They'll tell you, oh, I'm working. They don't work under supervision anymore, like strict human supervision. So, are you advising that for those whose work has kept them in the house, to look for a way to adjust their remote work style? Are you saying that we shouldn't work from home, or even if we are working from home, it should take an innovative format for our health purpose?
Yeah, well, those working from home. So let's say the nature of the job is strictly working from home. There's nothing you can do. You just have to find measures to help you cope with such a situation, and not overlooking the health hazard parts, and ensuring that you take the necessary precaution to prevent every kind of health effects or health challenges that may arise from this situation. For instance, if you're a person that don't exercise before, you could start exercising. Morning walk is fine. You don't even have to go to a gym house because the pandemic, you might be scared. You don't want to get infected. So I think you could do a morning walk. You could just walk from your street maybe to the next street, then you get back home. And another thing again, you need to learn how to change your walking position. Maybe you sat down for about an hour, then you can stand up, take a walk, or stand, get a standing, what's it called, like a standing shelf, like a standing walk shelf, where you could walk while standing for a while. Then you could sit down. It also helps to alternate the position where you work in. So, and basically, people usually send emails through computer through the system, send emails, do Zoom meeting, online meeting. But when there's no pandemic or before the pandemic, we usually meet face to face, chat, communicate, discuss business with our colleagues, and this also have a way to improve our psychological state and improve our communication. This social ability, have been able to communicate and interact with people. But since the pandemic, it has actually reduced drastically. So people need to adapt and
Now, let me cut you. Let me cut you there. Let me cut you there. Now, for instance, I'm working for a diaspora company,
okay.
say Facebook, and used to have an office somewhere on the mainland before the lockdown. After the lockdown, or during the lockdown, we were told to sit at home and work. And what are you saying in terms of this social ability, communication? Are you saying I must carry my desk outside when Facebook is canceled?
Sorry, can
I
you
must
repeat
come
the
outside. Okay.
sorry, can you
Now,
repeat the
I'm
question?
working for a company abroad, and
Okay.
before the lockdown, we had a physical office somewhere on the island. During the lockdown, we're told to work from home. Until now, we have not been called back to the office. Now, if I got you right, are you saying that I will not be able to gain certain social abilities, social connections with fellow human beings, which are very core to my work by doing it online? Are you saying that I must go out? Because this remote working we are saying is people have to, man must work now, they have to eat. That's more important than
Oh,
having
you could,
relationship.
you could get this social. You can socialize online. I'm not disputing that fact. You can socialize online, but still, it's gives us. It's kind of it has a health hazard. That's just basic. Emailing online, doing Zoom meetings, doing this screen, all those things. So that's the basic of it all. You know, we could online has make things easy. We know internet, this modernization and everything has made things much more easier. But most times we don't look at the negative side of it. We don't look at the health effect of it. We just focus on what the benefit now and not the
Yeah,
effects later on. So that's just what I'm talking about.
yeah, you're right. I totally agree with you on that because I've had transactions with people who are, for a lack of any better word now, who are crazy. Guys who literally are mad with you on the phone. Now they want to sell to you or you are transacting with them, but they can't communicate. They don't know who's on the other side of the phone. But the way they talk, the way they back at you don't even wonder if it were God that made you, or if they were not ready to sell. I really think remote work has a serious demerit in terms of physical connection, lack of social contact. You made mention of having tea break, coffee break. Now these are social moments that are irreplaceable in human life.
Yeah, very correct.
Humans, in sociology, humans are a gregarious animal. We need communities to thrive,
Yeah,
and online communities cannot replace physical communities. They can't replace physical connections. As
you're
much
correct.
as we need, as much as we need to keep safe, health wise, uh,
Mm-hmm.
the pandemic and all of that, I
Yeah,
people must have to seek for means, reconnect, to have human connection, emotional intelligence, time management. These things are learned physically. These things are things we can adapt
yeah,
from.
very.
We can get from
Yeah.
what you hear. Physical meetings, physical attendance. So we'll be winding up shortly, but I would like to get your take, or I would like to get your take when it has to do with those unanticipated mental issues that comes with the fact that I'm working remotely, I'm working from home, I'm almighty, no one is seeing me here, I can do anyhow. you to help handle that because being under supervision creates that difference. Those
From my
mental issues that can thrive
own
from remote work.
regarding that,
Yeah.
having no supervisor or no manager or something like that, and you have to work on your own at home.
Yeah.
I believe it's something of self-discipline, and it's not something that you, you know it's self-discipline, and it's a decision. Some people have different
Yeah.
mindset about things and how to handle things. And people like this, people that would take advantage of the situation, I don't think there's anything you could tell them that will make them change, except they are determined themselves. So the person should look at the bigger angle, the bigger goal, like where he's heading to, and try to internalize it and reason about it and understand that this is where I'm working towards, and not just for the meantime. So imagine you working from home and you're able to utilize your potentials and you work effectively. So let's say it's time for promotion and someone recommended you and they saw your work and it's really a good one. Definitely you will get your promotion, and you would, because they realize the fact that you didn't take advantage of working from home, and you didn't you were not reluctant about your job, you were zealous. So that should be a motivation for people working from home. It should be a motivation, and they should be diligent in their work and not just do it merely because no one is there watching them. So whatever you find yourself to do, you have to do it properly, do it well, do it effectively. So that's my own principle about that. Hello, Mr. Basil.
Oh, actually, it should be a motivation. One should have me.
Yeah.
One should have intrinsic. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you have that intrinsic drive inside, waiting to be inspired by external supervision, by external motivation?
Yes, in this kind of situation.
Wow, this has been such an insightful session. I believe it has helped me in a number of ways, which I will go on to deploy. Yeah, so let's call it a wrap in a few minutes.
Okay.
So the problems that could be derived, health problems that could derive from remote working. From my note here, physical challenges. You started about mentioning sedentary lifestyle, the mental aspect of things, sitting in positions that could affect the eyes. And as you can see, I'm wearing my goggles.
So what are you trying to tell us? Are you one of those working from home kind of person?
Yes, we do.
Oh, okay. Them. Okay.
We do.
Guess you learned a lot tonight.
We do. Yes, I did it. Spoke directly. But there are spaces outside where we can pay and work. Yeah, the spaces. Yeah. So those light rays, they are not easy, especially when you keep the night. Sometimes I wake up, it's like there's sand on them beneath my eyelid. So you talk about constriction of eyesight that increases the pressure on the eye and could lead to glaucoma in a long time. You also mentioned affecting the spine, spondylitis, sciatica, right? Well, I'm correct by that. Yeah. I think there's one called lumbar. Am I wrong? I think that's secondary school biology. Lumbar.
Lumbar is in it's part of the spine at the back.
Okay, it's not a sickness.
There are different things that can affect the lumbar. Yeah.
Once upon a time, I was in an orthopedic hospital. So I saw a young man who was maybe mid-30s. So he couldn't sit down normally. All through the 5 hours or so he was in the hospital, he was standing. Like he couldn't sit down. He couldn't bend to pick anything on the ground. So I now wonder, for such a man, such a youth, at that age, not being able to sit down, what this time
How old?
would mean to him if he was
15?
not able to go to work. If he was to. Pardon, did you get my story?
Yes. I said, how old was he?
Yes, he was in the mid 30s. Mid 30s.
Oh, that's young.
Mid 30s. So, and it was painful. Me looking at him there. He couldn't sit down. Like everyone was seated. Every patient that came to the hospital seated, but he was standing. And I felt for him. So you talked about obesity, low metabolism, diabetes, and heart problems.
Yeah.
So for someone like me, so even I can base by sitting on this chair.
Yeah, I
Very
know that
simple.
this obesity is not about being so large. Sometimes a person might have cholesterol in the body, and the person might just be slim. So cholesterol
So I
most
can
times
be
is not.
obese, like obesity inside of me. I can be obese.
Yeah, the person can have cholesterol, high cholesterol, which is dangerous. Even if the person is not
Ah,
so obese, can have high cholesterol in the body
mm,
because there's no metabolism to break it down, and it can lead to this blood pressure and all the things. So that's just it. Not everybody that is slim, you think they don't have high cholesterol.
mm.
So
Okay.
that's why you need
So
blood
mm,
checkup is very important for everybody.
now we move on to the other things you mentioned. You talked about productivity. Remote work affects productivity, but the fact that one is not under supervision. Okay, nobody is seeing your guy no day. So I can just wake up anytime I like. I can go to my
Mm-hmm.
laptop anytime I like. I can, deliver anytime I like. But I think sometimes some companies have placed bars to that. They have made it impossible for you to be lazy. So they set up tasks for you and they say, okay, by 5 a.m. it has delivered. By 6 a.m. it has delivered. And they will make it so tight that you won't be able to keep out and say, okay, let I just sleep small. The moment you sleep a bit, you lose the
True.
task and you might lose the
And they
job.
eat
And
much of time, and they dip into most of your time, and you don't even have extra time to do your leisure things or your
yes,
activities. And most times people complain about this working from home that is so stressful, and they don't have a specific time for resting. Like
mm,
usually when they go to work, they really close by 4, and they know that the rest of the day is their
mm,
stuff.
mm.
So,
Yeah. It's not structured. Yes, remote work is not structured. People they just stand up, working, even with their mouth dirty. They have not eaten. They started working, and they might just be that way for the whole day. And I think remote work is kind of crazy. Remote work is crazy, man. So there's low enthusiasm. I think I've experienced that low enthusiasm. Being an entrepreneur, it's just like that. You are the one to inspire yourself.
yeah,
When the
true.
hunger bites your
You know,
tongue,
talking about this fact that there's no supervision and all. So okay,
mm,
let's talk about the chief executive officer. So who's gonna supervise him? So that's why I talked about the fact that you know your goal, you know where you're heading to. So if you think of your aim, and if you think of what you're gonna benefit ahead of you, you wouldn't need anybody to motivate like this chief executive officer. Who's gonna motivate him? It's his business. You know what he's targeting. So that's a good example of this self-motivation stuff.
yeah. But sometimes there are downtimes. There are times
Right?
when you try, like you try, you just feel like, God, maybe I call you for this life. It's not like there's something for you to do. So you just say, how much am I getting from this self? So let me just rest. Okay, let me just say 30 minutes, I'll do it. From 30 minutes, 1 hour. From 1 hour, 5 hours. From before you know, 7 hours, you are slept to the following day, and it's crazy. It happens. So,
Not waiting a day. We all have to start from somewhere. We'll have to start
mm,
from the CEO wants to work for someone. That's
mm,
what I. So when you get experience
yeah.
from different perspective of life, and you'll be able
Mm,
to develop yourself and become a better person, better version of
Yeah.
yourself.
So,
That's the
but there's a beautiful side to it. The earth is now cleaner because all of us don't go to work. All of us don't appear on the main road. In the city of Lagos where I live, it's like madness early in the morning. You see people running from one end of the road to another. They are diving buses. These days, I think it reduced a bit, though you may not see that significantly. But I think people reduce their movement. It is reduced. There's no longer that much drive, that much craze to go to work, and I must fight to enter the bus.
less
The
traffic.
number of cars reduced. Yeah. There's less human traffic, less vehicular traffic, and I think the
That kind of
atmosphere would
good part of the
also
whole
cleaner.
of working from.
Mm, yes. That's one sweet part of it. For those who don't have cars, I think they don't have anything with
Yeah.
saving Mother Earth. They don't care. So another aspect which you mentioned is that social skills, communication. Remote work bridges our communication, our physical contact. So the way you and I are discussing now, if this were to be a physical meeting, it would be different, right? We'll be seated
Definitely.
on the same couch, on the same studio, using the same mic, using the same cameras. But now you're somewhere else and I'm somewhere else. So this is what remote conversation. But I think
Yeah.
we've had a very good time of tonight. But before I
Yeah.
allow you do your final, um, you know, want our viewer conversations now. These are conversations that center around issues that are silent, but they are our existence in the workplace as human beings. These are conversations that we need to set our minds on. These are conversations that are endless.
Yeah.
These are
True.
conversations that though may not look lucrative in terms of bringing money immediately, but they stand behind every, let me say, spine of every human thriving in the workplace, in the marketplace. So you can't be complete. Your brand can't be complete. You can't thrive if you are in ill health. If you can't stand up, if you are bedridden, you can't walk. You can't go to work. You can't do anything. So we need these conversations over and over again. So I would like to invite these in the subsequent sessions. We need to certain issues. Certain issues. I would like you to talk about
Sorry.
certain issues. We have to pinpoint them. Yes, we have to pinpoint those health issues in our next discussion. So you also talked about having no structure. Remote work doesn't have a structure. You are unshackled. You can work anyhow. And I think for pulling something from that, for us to be able to function well in the new normal, like in our remote workplaces, we need to be more disciplined. We need to be more
Self-discipline.
self-disciplined. We need to be more self-disciplined. Yes. Otherwise, we keep losing jobs, even if it's our company. We keep falling and standing again. We need a need for us to have personal time for ourselves. Not just remote working and working from home, which is very sweet. But it's boring sometimes. You just wake up and God,
Yeah.
still in this house again.
I'm glad I'm not in that show.
Still in this house again. No. You are missing a lot. You are missing a lot. You see, going out. You see that time. I save time from going to the bus stop. You don't save that time. So I utilize more of my time. Let me argue for the remote workforce. Now, so that aspect of no personal time for myself. There's no time for rest. There's no structured time for rest. No structured time for work. Let me end it there and have a personal last word from you before we say bye bye. Yes, a personal word from you before we say good night.
Oh, regarding the
Yeah, just a final word. We are done for tonight. So,
okay, well, I've said it all. Well, we all need to understand the good and the bad part. That's the advantage and the disadvantage of remote working from home. Remote working, yeah. So it's a good thing actually. It's not like we're condemning it. We're not condemning it,
yeah.
but we need to enlighten us ourselves about the dangerous part. That's the disadvantage of it. So we could take corrections and we could adjust our lifestyle. So lifestyle modification play a key role in these aspects. We need to exercise often, go for checkup. We need to get a good sitting position when we're working on the system. And we also need to limit our exposure to the computer as well. So, and getting the aspect of um, lack of enthusiasm. So we need to develop this self motivation, this self inspiration to enable us to actualize our potentials and meet up with our task. So I think that's what we all need to do. And I'm sure and I hope
Wow,
this
wow, wow.
message it was impactful. Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Yeah. I hope you have been able to convince us,
I hope
not
I've
to
been able
confuse
to
us.
not confuse you that working from home is not bad, but
that
we need to look at the dangerous part of
hey,
um,
the dangerous part. I like the way it sounded. The dangerous part.
dangerous.
Okay. So, viewers, guys, everyone, both on board, yet that we see this video. Hmm. If they work from home, be careful. Oh. Uh-huh. If you are working from wherever you are working, be careful. You know, mind your health. Mind your health. Yeah.
Be cautious.
You just need to look after yourself. Be cautious. Yes. While you make the money, set time out to review your health so
You
you don't fall ill. So you don't fall ill. And these things about
well,
our health, they come gradually, and we only see them. They only manifest when they are big. Before the lockdown, before remote work, before the new normal, there was sick leave. But I don't think your boss will give you sick leave now. You're already at home now. You're already at home. You know, those kind of leave that they give for, I mean, remote workers. So those kind of leave that they give, so you don't need it. Which means the dimension has changed. Everything has gone online. Everything now innovative, except for the nurses and
now
doctors. They refuse to come online. They are in the hospital. So from time to time, we have to go and say hello to the doctors, hi to the nurses, like nurses, and ask them, to check our body system and know whether we
yes,
are
come
still cool to go.
check.
So we don't break down.
Mm.
Because like vehicles, like regular vehicles, we shouldn't wait until we break down, bah,
Before you
before, like, on the
service it.
center of the road, before we go for a test. Thank you very much. Nurse.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you. I hope we have you once more. When next you're coming, you come with an injection. You give some people one life. So,
Maybe next
so
time.
thank you very,
Yeah,
very much. And
yeah. Thank you so
thank
much.
you. Bye bye. Good night.
Nice.
Bye. So, viewers, I would like to also have you understand that the Brand Power Conversation is live here on YouTube and on Facebook at the Open House. So the Open House is also on WhatsApp. We started on WhatsApp, yeah. We migrated to YouTube. Our sessions are on live as well. You can get them in a week's time on our website. I mean, the audio recordings of the previous ones we had in the lockdown, the ones we had where we hosted Emilola Adeboye, where we hosted Chukuma Ife Mukenwa, where we hosted Michelle Sullivan, where we hosted the tech guru Obina Jude, and a lot of them. You know, we would like you to visit our website
But
www.theopenhousegroup.org.ng. I repeat again, the openhousegroup.org.ng,
NG.
www.openhouse.org.ng. So there you will see all our previous sessions. You can as well contact us, or if you want a special topic to be discussed at the open house, we are free to suggestions. We are free to comment. Drop them on the comment section below, and our guests will be out there ready to answer. I think we have one question here from Treasure Portable, and very good. Our guest is still here. Let's take this question. Some people may develop body odor due to lack of personal hygiene. Yes, I think that was one place we didn't touch. And in our pre-discussion, before this session, I was telling Pete something the surfaces of the laptop, the surfaces of our house, the remote workplace, that may not be sanitized, it may not be clean. You know, I think Portable Treasure just raised a point here. Due to lack of personal hygiene, yes, you're right. People will not pay that much attention. There is no consciousness. After all, I'm not going outside my house. Okay, why will I bath? Why will I change my clothes? I will just sit down in the house and work. Yes, people don't take that consciousness. I think I'm not pointing fingers. I think I've seen that. Let me not call names. Let me not point anyone.
Okay.
Even in buses, those people who have these issues in public transport, where someone passes you and a familiar odor just passes your face.
Yeah.
So a strange odor, not a familiar one. Body odor, the auntie oozes some wonderful smells like that, natural smell that you don't like. Body aroma. Imagine such person at home doing remote work.
He's already adapted.
No, I just say imagine.
He see himself smelling, he will feel normal, and so he's already adapted to that.
Okay.
People around him will also be adapted to that. So it's someone from
the
have to inform him or her of that condition. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, is body odor treatable?
About such things, and they will feel embarrassed or stuff like that, so they just ignore.
Yeah, but is body odor treatable?
Sorry?
Is body odor treatable? Is it treatable?
Yeah, of course. It's not a disease. Body odor is not a disease. So it's just for proper. They lack hygiene, so once the hygiene has been commenced, then they should be.
Person should go and bath well.
Yeah.
Person should go and bath well. So let me let you go. You have done tremendously. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. So go back to the hospital.
Good night again. Bye.
Go back to the hospital. Go and treat all the patients. Yes.
Ciao.
Bye.
Let me tell you favor with two hands, because one hand not.
Thank you.